Joining me now is Ibrahim Hamami, who is the director of the London-based Palestinian Affairs Center, and Vehbi Baysan, who is an assistant professor at Ibn Haldun University in Istanbul. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you here. Vehbi, what kind of a threat Mohammed Dahlan does pose to Turkey to earn him a place on Turkey's most wanted list?
But probably he's an unusual person to be on that list because, I mean, we know why, but the reason I'm saying is that probably he's the first Palestinian, put it that way. This is because his involvement in 2016 coup attempt, because previously, I mean, in the 4 months that leading to that coup attempt, actually, there are a lot of transactions, proven transactions between Dahlan and the FETÖ terror organizations who staged this attempted coup, and luckily...
Why it took Turkey 3 years to put him on the most wanted list? Was Turkey gathering intelligence throughout that time?
Well, that too, but also what happened is that an article was published, if you remember, in the US detailing his involvement in that failed coup attempt. And Turkey was really furious because it was unexpected. And he's an outside hand, but because of his suspicious dealings with the United Arab Emirates and what happened in Palestine and all the rest of it, so Turkey kept it for a while, quite until studying in detail his firm involvement in it.
Okay. Ibrahim, his name seems to pop up every time a government is destabilized in the region. Correct. Tell us about his background. Is he acting alone? Who is he?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And people think, is he a Superman that every time there's something wrong in any region in the Middle East, his name pops up? He has a hand in every area there, which is a hot area. And I mean, there are reasons why he is like that. He's not a special person, but his past has gained him this sort of notorious sort of level. I mean, he was recruited very early in the 1980s, and this is according to a guy called Yaakov Berry, who was a Shabak, the internal security, Israeli internal security apparatus. In a book he wrote, he says, my career as an intelligence man. And he said he was actually recruited in the 1980s in Tunisia. Whitley Brunner, who is a CIA operative, confirmed that. And this has been never denied by Dahlan himself, despite being widely reported. Also, they invested very heavily in him when he was in the Palestinian territories in Gaza as the head of the preventive security. And there were, I mean, like campaigns after campaigns, agreements after agreements. Dayton is one of them.
Tell us about his investors. Are you implying the United States
Definitely.
or Israel? Is Israel grooming him?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a public sort of thing. It's not a secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have examples here. I mean, there was a Rome Security Accord. There was the Dayton Agreement. I mean, they channeled millions and millions of dollars to his office in specific. I mean, George Bush in June 2003, after invading Iraq, he did mention, I like this guy, and he gave them a presentation with Sharon at the time. So they invested very heavily in him. Okay. They trusted him because he can do anything. He can betray anything. He betrayed Arafat, he betrayed Mahmoud Abbas, he betrayed Hamas in Gaza Strip. He doesn't care.
He basically betrayed his own Palestinians. He filed a legal complaint against Abbas at the International Criminal Court, and the complaint was filed by an Israeli lawyer. So does he want to become the next Palestinian president? And I mean, if he becomes the Palestinian president, how will it serve the interests of Palestinians given these circumstances?
Well, given back to his CV, probably it's not going to help much because, look, in April 2002, Israeli Defense Minister Benjamin Ben-Eliyah, he said that we should give Gaza to Dahlan.
Correct.
Wow. Imagine. So he's that much. And also, International Criminal Court actually opened the court case because of his involvement in Libya and because of
Saif al-Islam
involvement.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Son, right?
They looked at it, yes.
Yeah, they looked at it. But also, you know, the corruption charges is like $15 million disappeared and all that.
He was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment in the Palestinian territory
in his absence.
Because of he stole $16 million according to them.
But more than that, of course, we know, especially the Jewish lobby in the US are very keen to strike a deal for the region. They call it for the region, but of course this is for Israel. No benefit to Palestinians whatsoever. And Kushner, you remember, is actually they very much in the region trying to convince the leaders for this deal to go. But this is, I mean, if I'm wrong, correct me, but this is not really to the benefit of Palestinians
Absolutely
at all.
No.
It's just basically to, what do you want? You want a bit of money, we give you, and then we, hog the land, and then forget about the rest.
What is the purpose? We see him in Libya, we see him in Egypt, we see him in Turkey and Palestine as well. So is he apparently working against radicals in those regions? Because we know he is dealing with these foreign mercenaries who assassinate Yemeni politicians,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, he's a conduit. He's an instrument and tool for the UAE.
What is the ultimate goal?
Well, it's a regional sort of conflict. UAE is completely against the post-Arab Spring sort of democratic transition, and they're trying to abort that in every region where there were democratic elections, or the democratic process will bring someone who's not in their circles. So he's the tool for that. He's the conduit. So if they are funneling money, he's the one who's doing it. If they are trying to recruit mercenaries, he's the one doing it. If they are trying to attempt a coup in Turkey, for example, he's the one who's arranging it.
But again, cooperating with another radicals, which you have a
Yeah,
terror
exactly.
organization.
So if you look at it, I mean, in Libya, he's not against the radicals. It's the opposite. People who actually got rid of the radicals in Sirte, for example, he's against them. Okay, in Yemen, he's killing and assassinating leaders of the Islah Party, who's not part of the civil war. In Egypt,
But it has links to Muslim Brotherhood, right?
Yeah,
That's why they're killing them, right?
this is one of the reasons. I mean, it's a completely not against Islamic Brotherhood. It's against Islamic ideology in general. So any democratic process that brings an Islamist government, they're totally against it. Okay, regardless of who's coming back, who's coming up with it. So he's the instrument, tool, conduit for the UAE, not working. He's like having the backup, the support and protection of them. They send them all over the place. They send them to attend the Atlantic Treaty Association in Brussels in 2015, in November, to attack Turkey and President Erdogan in this meeting. They sent them to meet with President Putin in Russia in a special security arrangement to represent the UAE. So that's why he's getting these sort of involvements.
So, Vepi, tell me about it. Dahlan is some sort of a foreign policy tool of the United Arab Emirates, but what is behind this dispute, or rather hostilities between Turkey and the United Arab Emirates? What's happening?
I think Turkey's, we should explain this from the Turkey's involvement in the region. At the moment, Turkey is kind of a mediator, especially the Palestinian cause concerned. Now, Dahlan, now we have these elections coming up in 2 months' time. I don't know if the time is, date is set, but let's say in January, February, very time soon. So we have Mahmoud Abbas, we also have Hamas representatives. They are dealing with Turkey, and Turkey, what they want is that they don't want to involve with the elections in Palestine, but they know one thing: Dahlan should not be the next president of Palestine, and I think Turkey will do their best to avoid that.
Will that happen?
Well, I mean, it's not just Turkey. I think a lot of people in the Arab region, they don't want him to be in any sort of position because of his notorious, I would say, crimes in the region. Definitely the Palestinians don't want him to be there. And he's trying very hard with the money and with the sort of spider web network of contacts all over the region to get involved or get as the next PA president or chairman.
But it will be up to the Palestinian people's will, right?
Even if this is the outcome, that it is clean and the outcome doesn't fit with Israeli goals, they're going to do the same, exactly the same. I mean, kidnap the members of the Legislative Council, I mean, stop and freeze all the political life there. So either it brings someone they like or they stop it.
All right, gentlemen, I'm afraid we're out of time. It was good to talking to you. Thank you for joining me on Straight Talk.
Thank you.